Hi, this is lesson 2 where we'll start working with Photoshop. Guys, I want to say sorry for the previous lesson. I know that it was more theoretical, but I think it was necessary to keep in mind what we are going to work with. Okay, so let's get started with the compositions. We need to be aware that we are going to draw for busts. We're not representing the whole body. So the first thing we must do is preparing an outline with a summary of what we want to draw and how we are going to represent it in our file. The good thing of working with Photoshop is that we can set the parameters according to our needs, so we can modify the size, for instance, depending if we are going to print it or will be used in a digital platform. Well, as you can see, I'm placing the 4 heads inside a rectangle as if it were our file, the real one. Perhaps, as we are creating 4 different illustrations, it would be a good idea to create each of them individually and then group them in the same composition. Once everything is put together, we can draw directly in the composition. From my point of view, the best way to work with it and being organized and avoid using tons of layers is working individually and then grouping the illustrations in a new file with the proper dimensions to apply it later on to a mock-up. So, remember, first, create one by one each illustration and second, group them. After that, we'll see what's the best way to place them in the canvas. As you can see, a vertical image is too small to see properly the 4 busts. That's why it's better to use a horizontal format. In addition, in order to make the composition more dynamic, we'll be placing the heads and make them look in different directions. So, 2 of the faces will be looking to the inner side of the composition, it is to the inside of the frame, and the other 2 to the outside. After introducing these changes, the composition will be balanced and easy on the eye. I think symmetry is important, and that's why I always tend to make my illustration symmetric. Then, if we use a guide and a concrete style, it will be easier. So, now we have everything set. We are going to use a horizontal format, a concrete position, the dimensions, and so on. So, we only need to select which color we are going to use for the background. The format I'll be working with is 6000 by 6000, which I think would be the greatest option, especially if we want to share our illustration in any social network. Okay, so what is this I'm drawing now? Okay, what I'm doing now, or this smiling face I'm doing, means that we can do our bust using both a full face view or a 3/4 view. Actually, I prefer the 3/4 view since I think it's much more dynamic. It gives our image a more realistic effect than using, let's say, a frontal angle. We're enlivening it. Just to sum up, once we do this, we'll have a horizontal file and we are going to put our illustrations on it. Like I'm doing now. See? It's like it's not real, but it's just to see you how it would be in the real composition. Remember that we are going to direct 2 of the faces towards the inner side of the canvas and the rest towards the outside. Let's use a uniform background. Also, We are going to do it so that it can be used in the same format and file as Google Pictures. Okay, I'm going to crop this out since I made it too big. And I also know that the sketch is unclean, sorry for this, guys. So, the illustrations of the sides are going to look to the outside and the two of the middle to the inner side, as if they were looking at each other. Well, this has been all for this lesson, and as I always say, work in the way you feel more comfortable with. I work in this way because I am comfortable with it. So, see you in the next lesson, and I really hope that you like it. See you in a minute.